WNBL. That's a nice finish.
Perfect start for her.
Floats it up and in.
Not many players could have got that ball.
He hits the dagger.
Hits another three.
Out on the run. It's a nice finish there.
And she works her way in. Win three ball is good.
Talbot up top. Shook, catch and shoot. Clean look for three. Go.
Makes her move and one. They are pumped over there.
Round 3 of WNBL action concludes with Game 2 of our Sunday doubleheader coming to you from Bendigo Stadium as the Spirit host the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. Two teams who met just 11 days ago, but through the quirks of COVID fixturing, will go at it again this evening. The Boomers on a very short turnaround. They posted their second impressive win in a week over Southside last night in a very warm Dandenong Stadium. Then jumped on a bus to Bendigo and will front up for their second game in 24 hours as we welcome you to Game 2 of our doubleheader. Jason Bennett alongside two-time WNBL champion Steph Blitzarv. Steph, great to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, everyone. I mean, it's great. I'm pretty excited to see the game come up because last time these two played each other and it was a very, very good battle.
It's a fascinating matchup, isn't it? 11 days ago, Bendigo played small ball. They went fast, they went intense, and they managed to roll the Boomers. And the Boomers coming off a 24-hour turnaround, as I mentioned. Both teams electing to take a knee pre-game. Great opportunity tonight, a fascinating matchup. Bendigo know they've got a style of play, that quick, small ball to stretch the Boomers. And the Boomers, well, fatigue's going to be a factor for them.
Yeah, it really will be a factor. They had a really tough game and their starters played a lot of minutes last night. So it'll be interesting to see how they start the game, whether they come out fresh and full of confidence or whether they're just that little bit sluggish.
Well, the Spirit went 0-13 in the hub last season. There was good reason for that. Coach Tracy York was building her squad around two quality imports and then the rules changed. No imports and all the most experienced Aussie talent was already signed to other clubs. So this year, she shopped early. She brought in vets like Leilani Mitchell and Maddie Garrick alongside gun youngsters Annalie Maley and Megan McKay to build a totally brand new starting five.
Yeah, it looks very, very interesting and they've definitely shown that they can play that quick small ball, and with the likes of Annalie Maley crashing the boards, they're not really missing anything in the height factor.
Yeah, there's something there to work with. The Melbourne Boomers, well, they've been there and thereabouts in recent seasons. Grand finalists in 2017-18. They've strung together 4 consecutive final series, including a prelim last season. Guy Malloy's announced this will be his 9th and final season, and he's assembled a squad with the talent to challenge for that title once again, Steph. 2 quality import guards from the WNBA in Lindsay Allen and Tiffany Mitchell, alongside Opal's frontliners Kayla George, Izzy Magbagor and Tess Madgen.
Yeah, well, they've shown in their last couple of games that they can really be a powerhouse this season. So let's see if they come out today and show just how powerful they can be.
Well, we mentioned 11 days ago, these two sides came together at Bendigo Stadium. They're very, very different in size and shape. The Boomers have the size advantage with George and Magbagor and Penina Davidson, so they'll be looking to dominate inside at both ends, Steph. But the Spirit, they're built for speed. Yeah,
they're very different teams, very different lineups, and it's going to really come down to who has the legs, I think, today. So if Melbourne can get off to an early lead, really pumping it inside, getting their bigs in and getting early inside touches, I think they'll be able to fly away with it. But the Bendigo Spirit really showed that they have really great pressure defence, and they're on the hustle, on the rotations, and making Melbourne, from the last game at least, shoot contested shots.
So Kayla and Ezzy have the size advantage inside. Are you expecting to see Bendigo go hard at them early, particularly to try and maybe get them into some foul trouble and then bring in the likes of Penina Davidson and Lou Brown, who are the backup bigs?
You would expect that. You would expect the Spirit to go really hard at their starting 5 because they'll be tired. You're hoping that they won't be able to move their feet and pick up a couple of early fouls and get them sitting for a little bit, and hope that you can really push it to them while they've got their backups on.
So Guy Malloy and his recruiting team really loaded up on their starting 5 this season. And so far it's paying dividends. And they went and got a player like Tiffany Mitchell, Steph. We know that in recent years the Boomers at times have been forced into a lot of perimeter shooting. They were looking for a player who can drive hard to the basket. As we take a look at the starting 5 for Bendigo, as we mentioned there, a whole bunch of new faces. Tessa Levy, really the only one who's been there previously. Maddie, obviously, there a while back when she won 2 championships with Bendigo. It's great to see her back with the Spirit.
Yeah, it's a very big refresh for them. So hopefully they can really gel together, and they've had a bit of a good lead up to the season, which as showed with their first win in the past couple of seasons.
So Lindsay Allen, Tiffany Mitchell, Tess Madgen, 3 guards in that starting 5, but they're all complementary. They're all completely different.
They are. They're all bringing something different to the game. So Lindsay Allen, quick little guard. You've got Tess Madgen, who really controls the tempo, and Tiffany Mitchell, that we've seen can just be an absolute powerhouse, going into the paint strong, putting up shots, bringing in boards. So, yeah, they are very complementary to each other.
And it's a significant night for Brad Henshaw. You can see him there on the left. He makes his WNBL debut. He's come up through the Victorian ranks. He started at Kilsyth reffing way back in 2010. So, a great moment to Brad, and we wish him all the best on his debut. Great to see young talent on and off the court in basketball getting an opportunity and having that pathway to grow. So the Boomers, their second game in 24 hours.
It'd be very interesting to see how they come out to start the game. This is their chance to really use that momentum and get a good start, but whether their legs will allow it, there's some older players in the team, some veterans, so hopefully they've done their recovery and the drive up wasn't too bad for them.
So as you mentioned, all of those starting 5 played big minutes last night. So the likes of Penina Davidson and Lily Scanlon and Izzy Wright coming off the bench, Lou Brown, could be particularly important this evening. There's a story as well on the right of screen there. Alex Wilson, the 25-year-old who has been a bit of a journeywoman through the WNBL. She's been at Adelaide, Townsville, Sydney, back to Adelaide, won a couple of championships, Rookie of the Year back in 2014. She signed with the Spirit this week. It's an added talent and experience.
So that brings in another player that they have that's all about speed and athleticism, so that she'll step right into that Spirit lineup.
Both these sides relatively healthy. Spirit without Demi Skinner, who's recovering from a groin injury sustained early in the pre-season. She's hoping for a return in early January. The Boomers without backup guard Rachel Brewster. She suffered a nasty ankle sprain. She's likely out for 3 to 6 weeks, which is terrible luck for Rachel, who's secured a full-time contract after a couple of years as a development player with the Boomers. So they meet again 11 days after Bendigo shocked the WNBL. Can they repeat the dose? It's round 3 action. The Spirit and the Boomers from Bendigo Stadium, and away we go. Game 2 of our Sunday doubleheader. George off to Mitchell. Back to George.
And that just rattles out. But they're looking to get inside, which is great. It would have been great to see Kaylee go straight up to the ring there and get those first couple of points. But it does look like they're going inside.
Levy and Mitchell combine. Mitchell versus Alden. That's going to be a match-up to savour. Early advantage to Leilani. Three-time WNBL champion opens the scoring in Bendigo. She's played at Dandenong, Sydney, Adelaide, back to Sydney, the Caps, a couple of years at the Flyers, and now she's with the Spirit. So Allen versus Mitchell again.
Looks like Bendigo are putting some early pressure up in the court, trying to make Boomers work for every score.
From the right, inside to Magbagor. As you mentioned, that's plan A. Establish that interior game for the Boomers. And Izzy's on the board early. Levy, Mitchell, McKay. And Magbagor does enough. Allen, Madgen sets for 3, short. And Maley picks up the first of what I'm sure will be plenty of rebounds as always.
As we can expect, Annalee's been chasing those boards and she's renowned for it now, so expecting a lot from her today.
Interesting matchup with Magbagor, Maley. There's not too many that athletically can kind of match up with Izzy. She gives away some height, but she's got incredible vertical leap. Mitchell, shot clock, won't matter. Boomers force a turnover. Magbagor off to Allen. Magbagor to Mitchell. Now George, capable from range. Shot clock down to 6. Looking for an interior option. There's Magbagor again.
That's the type of thing that Melbourne need to keep going to the well runs dry.
Mitchell to Maley. Thought about the inside ball to McKay. Garrick being guarded by Mitchell, tries to get some space. She's now got her former co-captain in her face, wants to take on George. The fake, the fall away. And draws the foul.
I think that's a very good gameplay for the Spirit, trying to draw those fouls on their bigs. Because without Ezzy and Kayla in there, they've got a lack of height coming off the bench.
It's Benita Davidson, who's had extended minutes this season. She'll get more opportunities after Kalani Purcell headed to Sydney this season. Maddie Garrick makes her first two. So Allen and Levy, two of the quickest players in the competition. Begor to Mitchell. George works it to Magin. Off to Levy. Annalise wants to take Ezzy on. Steps through. And she draws a foul on one of the Boomers' bigs as well. So as predicted, Steph, they're going to go hard at Kayla George and Ezzy Magbegor.
And that was a great step through from Annalise there. She just did a little fake, sucked the bigs in, and then got herself to the stripe.
So first miss at the stripe for Bendigo. Regain the lead. To Magin, and Ezzy inside, to Mitchell, now to Magbegor. Working on McKay, kicks it out to Magin. Just can't quite find her range early.
Just might be a few tired legs, needs to work herself into it.
Garrick.
Little heat check there from Maddie.
Mitchell gets it to drop. And that was their modus operandi the first time they met. Get it out with speed, get some looks, drain the shots.
That's what Leilani's so good at too, just sneaking in there, and she can hit those shots.
George against Maley, shoots over the top of her and responds for the Boomers.
Kayla's one of those very dangerous players. If she makes her first shot like that, she can be on it tonight.
Big with genuine range as Levy goes to McKay. Mitchell cuts to the basket.
And that's another foul on Kayla.
So two early fouls for Kayla George. Mitchell, Levy with speed. Out to Mitchell, McKay sets the screen, then rolls, but George got a hand in. Mitchell loves to take it to the rack. Wants to take on Levy. Rattles out. Garrick sets. Just hasn't been able to find her range so far this season, Maddie Garrick. 9 for 39 coming into tonight's game.
And Maddie's very much one of those players, if she hits a couple, she can hit 5 or 6 in the game. So we'll just see if she's going to...
Mitchell wide open. Doesn't make them pay. Off the hands of McKay. Throws it back into George, who gathers it up and hands it off to Allen. Magbegor, Magin. George, quick hands. Allen, McKay gets across. Forces the turnover. And once again, Bendigo keen to put some speed on the ball. Garrick wants to drive this time. Draws another foul. So it's a very clear game plan for Bendigo. As soon as they get possession, they are on their bike.
They're pushing those lanes and hoping to get some early cheap buckets. But to Melbourne's credit, they're getting their defence back, but just not moving their feet, and they've picked up some early fouls.
There's the foul on Tiffany Mitchell.
And as a player, if you're a shooter, get yourself to the line, it can really get yourself going.
Maddie Garrick, a perfect 4 from 4 from the line. Allen's pass sloppy down the line.
And it really looks like Spirit are extending their defence up after scores to try and slow down the Boomers or get cheap turnovers like that one.
So Guy Malloy wants to chat. Bendigo with a 3-point lead halfway through the opening term.
Support your team in style. Head to WNBL.basketball and check out all of your favourite WNBL standards and teamwear with the official travel partner,
What do you think the message is from Guy Malloy early?
I think he's going to tell him to keep your hand. Oh, we might be able to hear him now.
Because we're just reaching in late. Just build the ball. The second thing is, if you don't go after bodies in the box out, it's going to be a long night, right? Thank you.
So you could just hear Guy there talking about going after bodies in the box out. So trying to secure all the rebounds and making sure that they're keeping Bendigo off the boards because they have the light for Annalee, who's going to crash every time. And so far, Leilani showed that she can go in there and pinch some as well. So making sure that they find a body and really clean up.
And if you're going to have... If you're going to have the size advantage, Steph, you may as well make it count on the boards. At the moment, rebound 7 to do Bendigo's way.
That's it. And it's just all hustle, a little bit of extra effort. And I understand that Boomers are very tired probably from last night's game, and that's where Bendigo are really capitalising on it.
So Mitchell with the ball. Maley to Levy. Garrick cuts to the baseline. Stops, props, can't make it go.
And there's Annalee with another board.
That'll be where the frustration kicks in for Guy Malloy.
Especially after he just spoke about it in his timeout.
Bendigo get another look. Mitchell wants to take Magbagor on. And again, Maley with the board. Sets up for the three herself and drains it.
And that's a coach killer right there. Just spoke about boxing out and finding a body, and Annalee comes in and gets 2 and then hits a 3. So I think he'll be pulling his hair out there.
Bendigo's lead out to 6. This game plan that worked so well the first time they met, so far working for them again. How are the Boomers going to respond here? Magin inside to George. Quick ball out to Mitchell. Wants to drive. Gets herself in a good position. And banks 2 in.
She showed a lot of good composure there. Oh, and the sprint. Oh.
Okay, can't finish the layup. Boomers dodge a bullet. Allen. Can't get it to go. The height and vertical leap of Magbagor. But look again, Maley having a huge influence. Not sure we've ever seen a better 185-centimetre rebounder than Annalee Maley.
I don't think we have. It's just that hustle.
Gives up 8 centimetres on Ezzy Magbagor. Allen to Mitchell, looking for space.
1-on-2, draws the foul.
It's Mitchell versus Mitchell. Leilani gives up the foul on Tiffany. In fact, it's on Tessa Levy. So 90 seconds left in the opening quarter. Annalee Maley, outstanding. So Tiff Mitchell, 27-year-old, originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Played her college ball at South Carolina, plays for the Indiana FIBA in the WNBA alongside Lindsay Allen. .340 left on the clock in the opening term. There's Maley off to McLean, who's into the game.
Just out of reach for Annalee there.
Allen receives from Magbagor. Wants to take on McLean. Loses the handle on it. Well done, Cassidy McLean. Now Levy gets to the free throw line. Can't drop the shot. Bo scraps under the hoop. Imagine. Off to Allen. Mitchell Penetrating ball inside to Magbagor. She finishes on the second attempt.
Melbourne are just missing those first little dinky layups that they normally make. So let's see if that one gets them going.
Tech on Kayla George.
That'll
Jason
be
Kelly.
3 on Kayla now.
So Tess Madgen just going over to talk with referee Jason Kelly. So Kayla George will go and sit down. Her third foul in the first quarter. Eddie Garrick can't convert. So this could be a very big story in this game. We talked about the importance of Melbourne's bigs not getting into foul trouble. Well, Kayla's got 3 and sitting down with 3 minutes to play in the first.
I'm sure that's not what they wanted at all.
So Guy Malloy, you can see, trying to get the attention of Jason Kelly over on the sideline. Mary Goulding, the Kiwi international, is into the game for Bendigo. Guy's got his explanation. I'm sure he's not satisfied with it, but he got it nonetheless as Levy gives it off to Bogue. Penina Davidson into the game for Kayla George, and it's tapped away by Lily Scanlon, who's also checked in.
This is a very fast group for Bendigo that are on.
McLean and Maley combine. 4 seconds on the shot clock. McLean drives, puts up the shot. Lovely finish, good touch.
Nice scoop out there.
Davidson, Mitchell. Boomers haven't been able to get into their rhythm at all so far in this opening term. Davidson goes to work on Maley. Might be a good matchup there. She's got a bigger body size than Ezzy Magbagor, about the same height, but a much stronger player through the core is Penina Davidson. So Maley may find that a little more difficult to deal with. It's not as easy to get around as Ezzy is.
No, and Ezzy and Annalie are more evenly matched, whereas they're both very long and lean and go for the reach, whereas Penina is very much a power player.
Maybe shot won't go.
And talking about that power, I think that was on Penina. Just a little bit too strong.
So here's another look under the hoop. The hook there on Carly Bogue. She'll go to the line. So it's going to be a fascinating tactical battle. We said that from the outset. So many layers to this game. Bogue misses the first. We've got Kayla George on the bench with 3 fouls. Penina Davidson's into the game earlier than Guy Malloy would have planned. Bogue makes the second. Bendigo in front again. Scanlon doubled into the corner. And just to get it to Madgen. Now Magbagor. Mitchell. Sweet ball movement from the Boomers. Out on the break. Had the numerical advantage.
Oh.
And Magbagor's length on show there.
And you could see that Tiff didn't want it, but she took it, and rightfully so.
Here's another look. The double to the corner when it comes out quickly, Steph, leaves you with the +1 advantage.
That's it.
So Mitchell with the baseline ball. Goulding. Maley versus Magbagor. Another chapter in that battle as he can't afford to foul. And one.
And one.
Now, is that on Magbagor or Madgen? Important call here.
It is.
Here's another look.
They called it. Could have gone either way. She kind of bounced off both of them.
I think it's on Ezzy Magbagor, her second. So in this game so far, 8 fouls to 1. Boomers. And you can see Guy Malloy with plenty to think about here. His worst fears and vulnerabilities are being exposed right now. Davidson to Scanlon. It's a big night for Penina. An opportunity for her to step up and put the team on her back. Magbagor. Scanlon.
Just made
Mitchell
one.
for 3.
Again.
Air ball.
Bit too much.
Goulding tidies it up for the Spirit. Maley to Mitchell. Bendigo have been patient in their sets. McLean constantly on the move. Maley tries to work on Davidson.
Too long in the key.
It's a Boomers ball. You could see there Penina Davidson, after giving that first foul, she really went out of her way to be very careful on that occasion, realising she can't afford to get into foul trouble as well.
And this is really a chance for the Boomers bench to step up and cement their place in the squad so far.
And we saw it earlier today with the Adelaide Lightning. Some of the role players came off the bench and had a huge role to play in Adelaide's success. Big winners today over the Caps. Scanlon, Magbagor worked the 1-2, and she draws the foul on Mitchell. Well, she's a little pocket rocket, Lily Scanlon. Super, super quick. Highly rated by Guy Malloy. She's tough, she's feisty, she's learning the craft, just sitting back behind a player like Lindsay Allen and learning those point guard skills.
She's obviously very, very quick too. Just turned the Jets on and she was right there, right on the rim.
Great junior career. Silver medalist for the Australia at the Under-19 World Championship. She won a part of the squad that won a WNBL championship with the Caps in 2019-20. She won a US Conference Championship with Gonzaga early this year. So she may be young, but she's already got some silverware. And we're into the final minute of the opening term. It's been a fascinating contest so far. There's Alex Wilson into the game for the first time for the Spirit. Maley wants to take Ezzy on again.
Ezzy did well to keep her hands out there.
Wilson, nice tidy up from Goulding.
Bendigo have picked up a lot of those. They're just putting in those little hustle plays and getting the putbacks, getting the boards, and that's what's keeping them in this game.
Maley again tries to swat it away from Davidson. Imagine down to 6 on the shot clock. Scanlon, she looks to drive. Kicks it out to Mitchell, has already made 1. Now she's got 2.
Unfazed by her last shot. Wouldn't have even known it happened.
Final play of the opening term. Boomers in front by 3. Mitchell wants to go herself, sets up, and a tidy little finish to end a highly entertaining opening term at Bendigo Stadium. Quarter time in game 2 of our WNBL Sunday doubleheader. The Melbourne Boomers 23, Bendigo 22.
Who said we're not strong enough, not fast enough? Wrong. We're crossover queens, scoring buckets, taking names and hitting no-look threes. We fight for every ball. And do we dunk? Hell yeah. When we roll onto the court with nothing to lose and everything to prove, you're in for a show. She got style, she got balls, she got belief, she got game.
Quarter time, Bendigo Stadium. The Melbourne Boomers by 1 point, 23-22, and a really interesting and entertaining opening term. Steph Blitzarbs played out in many ways the way we predicted, that the Spirit were going to go hard at the Melbourne Bigs, trying to get them into foul trouble, and that just changes the complexion of the game.
Yeah, that's right. We expected Bendigo.
On your flex, that's the yellow line here, right? Be ready to throw that pass. I reckon we would have missed a couple of layups, right? You see it, you got your flex cut to go, so we'll just do normal flex on Alex right, all right? Probably we'll put you on Mitchell, all right, to start with, and we'll take the other guard up the floor, all right? So we're just going to go, let's run you off the flex, and let's see the same side, the same there, just slide that in, and let's run you off that. I'm going to keep pushing, no, because I'm the nail, I'm the ball,
Really good spirit, so to speak, amongst that Bendigo group. They were none and 13 last season. A lot of new faces there this year. That early win against the Boomers, Tracy York told us during the week, it wasn't just the fact that they won, but it was how they won. They showed control, they showed discipline. They didn't panic down the stretch when the Boomers came at them. They took an enormous amount out of that. And when you're building a young group, that's sometimes all it takes.
It is. You just need that self-belief. And now that they know they can do it, once you win a game like that, you know that it can be done again.
We've said about the same game plan. Fascinating opening term as we start the second at Bendigo. Great to have you with us live on KO. It's the Boomers by a point. Maley, McKay, sizzling ball inside. Lovely finish from Goulding and 1.
And that's
Perfect
exactly
start.
what Tracy just said in her timeout. We've missed a couple of those layups and they were looking for that pass.
Lovely finish from Mary Goulding. 25-year-old from Christchurch in New Zealand. Played college ball. Went to Sweden in his second year at Bendigo. The Spirit back in front. Mitchell tries to turn Wilson. He sticks to the task. Releases Magbagor. Kicks it out. Madgen steps inside Goulding. Drives. And draws the foul.
It looks like the Spirit are coming out really aggressively. They're coming up with some full court pressure and then really hard shows on their on balls and trying to catch up with that rotation.
So no Kayla George to start the second term. 3 fouls in the opening quarter. So Benita Davidson stays out there, has the ball now. Scanlon getting more minutes as well. Madgen. Magbagor gets a ball she had no right to get, and Davidson finishes.
Is he showing their athleticism there?
Maley to Mitchell. Again, the inside ball. This time it's Wilson on the end of it. Stepped on the baseline. So Alex Wilson signing 3 days ago with the Bendigo Spirit. Great for them to add a little bit of experience to this predominantly young squad. Alex Wilson's been in the league since 2010, won a couple of championships. Scanlon. Magbagor. Now Davidson. Mitchell sits in the corner. Back to Scanlon. Mitchell now cuts. Receives. Drives. A little too hot for Magbagor. So a good test here for the Boomers on a couple of different levels. They're going to have to work through the fatigue of playing last night in Dandenong. They're going to work against a team that beat them just 11 days ago.
And they'll have that memory stored right in the back of their brain.
Have they learnt from that first loss? What can they do differently this time? Davidson, good defence on McKay. Gathered in again by Maley. Down to 4 on the shot clock. Inside to McKay. Takes on Davidson. Nice step. Can't get it to drop. And Davidson the rebound. Scanlon will hustle. Steps inside the screen from Magbagor. Davidson thinks about the three. Madgen, Magbagor, confronted by McKay. Back out to Madgen. He's got Levy to deal with. Draws a crowd. As he steps back, can't drain the three. Gets her own ball. Can take it to the rack herself. Can't get it to go. Gets her own rebound. Feeds it out, but turns it over to Mitchell. Now Levy. In transition, the Spirit. Garrick wants to step away from Davidson. Can't get it to drop. Madgen receives from Magbagor. Mitchell wide open. Wants to take Garrick on.
And that was a strong finish there from Tiff Mitchell.
So powerfully built, Tiff Mitchell. Former sprinter. Really strong. Has the ability
to split that there and then had great control in the air just to finish.
It gives the Boomers a totally different dimension, as we mentioned earlier. She's a guard who can genuinely drive to the hoop, draw some fouls. She's an elite free throw shooter. Boomers by 2. The great characters of the WNBL. She was an assistant coach at the Lightning for 3 or 4 years, and she was their senior coach 15-16, went to the 36ers as an assistant coach, and a 3rd year at the Spirit now, and she's also been heavily involved in the Australian programs with the Opals, Gems and Sapphires over the years. A great character of Australian basketball. She's got herself a competitive lineup this season. Exciting times for the Spirit and their fans. Maley, Garrick, Bogue, Mitchell gets free, gets enough of a look. Again, the vertical leap of Ezzy Magbegor rises above the pack. And Ezzy right into the game, gives it off to Scanlon. So the Boomers, another different look, different combination of guards here. Wright will have the job on Levy. Davidson wants to take on Maley. Quick hands from Maley. Garrick in support. Still a Boomers ball. 3 seconds left on the shot clock.
And Spirit are really helping in hard on the bigs. As soon as the ball goes to the floor, you can see Maddie helped in there. And for the last couple of possessions, it's been 3 or 4 blue. Just stopping the Boomers, getting their bigs in there.
They lose in size, they make up for in number. Scanlon gets free as the shot clock expires. Off the front of the rim, Boomers ball. Davidson, Scanlon's already had one look. Couldn't find her range, same shot. Came up short off the iron. Levy receives from Garrick. And now they'll set up. And there's a foul off the ball.
On Izzy Wright.
That contact on Levy as she was cutting through.
Just testing the waters, see what she can get away with.
So Izzy Wright, predominantly given stopping roles, comes in off the bench to do a job for Guy Malloy. Well read from Magbegor, intercepts the pass, and again Mitchell off to the rack at every opportunity. Confronted by Maley, still makes it count.
Too strong.
The Spirit wants some speed. Levy, Mitchell through Maley. Garrick. Maley, the show and go on Magbegor, who swats it away.
And it's interesting to see Boomers here. It looked like they were set up in part of a zone, maybe to protect Ezzy from getting another quick foul here.
So Ezzy Magbegor, only the one foul.
Oh, my mistake, and I thought she had 2.
It was counted on Ezzy, and then it was corrected and given to Tess Madgen, who's now got 2. Garrick to the corner. Levy as the shot clock expires. Air ball to right. Almost loses the handle herself. Mitchell has got Davidson getting set under the hoop. Flips it to Magbegor. Thought about the give to Wright. Goes herself and draws the foul.
And Ezzy is so hard to guard down there. Even a rip from the elbow. They should be looking to really exploit that, because who can guard her without having to send another person? The clear mismatch there.
Has all the tools to be a dominant force in this league, Steph. Almost too unselfish for her own good at times.
Yeah, you're right. And anyone that knows Ezzy just knows how beautiful of a person that she is. So almost too nice to her detriment.
Had real problems with the free throws yesterday. 3 for 9. Just no confidence left, everything short. She started again that way tonight. Makes the second. Boomers up by 5. Levy to Garrick. Bright with the job on her at the moment. Goulding, Mitchell draws a crowd, gives it off to Levy, just a little bit too much on it. Back to Mitchell. Davidson almost got herself into trouble. In the end, the Boomers will get the ball.
That was very, very lucky there.
To Coach Killer. Guy'd be screaming at her, just let it go out.
Wanted that extra rebound. Padding the stats.
Scanlon and McLean, 2 young speedsters. Great to see this next generation of young talent starting to get court time in the WNBL. Fast-track their development enormously. Right. Against Goulding, backs out. He's got Magbegor, beautiful ball to Davidson, who doesn't finish.
And that was great ball movement there. Just couldn't reward themselves.
Levy wants some movement. Goulding provides. Shots not dropping for either team right now. It's the Boomers by 5. Right to Mitchell. Eyeing off McLean. Works on it. And adds another 2.
I'll say it again, just too strong.
A really difficult matchup to guard, isn't she? She's so strong and so powerful. Sort of plays above her size, but still has that speed and mobility of a smaller player as Garrick puts up a 3 and finds her range. Maddie Garrick. Brings the Spirit back within 4.
That'll be a confidence booster for Maddie there.
Scanlon, loose ball, well read by Bogue. She's got Levy working hard to the inside. Offensive foul, Bogue on Scanlon.
And Scanlon did well there just to keep her hands out, keep her body in front and not do too much there.
What'd you make of the call?
If I was Carly Bogue, I would be a little bit upset, but that's just me because my name's Steph Blitzards and I've never fouled in my life.
And that's a tech as well, is it, on Tracy York?
A few techs thrown out this game.
Yeah, on the Bendigo coach. So we had a tech earlier on Kayla George in the opening term, now a tech on Tracy York. Sends Tess Madgen to the line and a chance to extend Melbourne's lead. Tracy biting her tongue, you can just see her
seething.
Yeah, that's energy is just about to burst out of her. And another foul, this time on Lou Brown, who's just stepped into the game, been on the court for 3 seconds. And this time it's Guy Malloy who's left perplexed. So the ref's setting the tone here, Steph. They're quick on the whistle. Players need to respond.
That's it. And you really need to play to what the refs are calling because every player knows that you can get away with a little bit some games and sometimes they shut it down straight away. That's one of these games, I think.
Lovely worked play to Goulding, just couldn't finish. Brown off to right. Allen back into the game after having a rest. All of Melbourne's starters played heavy minutes last night in the heat in Dandenong. Agbagor playing plenty of minutes so far in this one. Mitchell too, and Madgen. Allen's had a bit of a rest. Agbagor. Madgen's going to have to put the shot up.
And that comes down to communication. The rest of her team should have been telling her, you've got 7, you've got 6. Just that acknowledgement to know how much time she had left.
It's been a bit of an issue, particularly early on for the Boomers in a practice game against Southside. I think they had 5 shot clock violations in a quarter. Levy. 3.5 minutes left in the opening half. Low scoring game, it's a tight one. Plenty going on at Bendigo. McKay. Goulding drives and finishes.
That's her 3rd drive straight down the middle, right into that hook shot.
To Magbagor to right. Madgen calls Magbagor to the hoop. Madgen drives. Izzy with the long 2. Goulding with the rebound. Again, Levy looking to push the speed on right. Goulding holds it up. McKay. Cutting through was Maley. Pass just off the mark. So it's kicked back out to Levy, who sets up for 3. Can't make it go, and Wright claims the rebound. Pushes the pace herself. Feeds Brown. And Brown pops it in for a couple.
Great awareness there of Izzy Wright to just suck 2 players straight to her and feed Lou Brown there for the easy layup.
Lou Brown's first points in the WNBL. McLean and Maley combine. Now Levy. To McLean, takes on right, steps around, flips it backwards. Not sure if that was the intent, but it worked perfectly as Goulding finished.
I think Izzy might have got a piece of that one. I'd be telling the stats people, put it down, put it down.
We'll take an assist, thanks. Let's have another look. That was Izzy's block, straight into the path of Goulding, and she said thanks a lot. Timeout call. Boomers lead by 3 with just over 2 minutes remaining in the opening half.
And neither team can break away.
The Boomers have evened up that rebound count, Steph. We mentioned at one point it was 7-2 in favour of Bendigo. It's now 20-19 in favour of the Boomers. So after Guy Malloy implored his team to start boxing out, they've listened to that and squared it up on the boards. Here's Tracy York.
Hey, when you run dive, we got the flare, but it's got to then be kicked on, and the big, which was you got to go short corner so it can come to there, and we would have had that one open. Hey, that's all right. We're looking at the different options here. We're doing invert Meg, right? So Meg, Maddie, Gary, all coming through. Where have we got? Mary's corner. Mary. So Lay's going to pass it here. You're going to lift. You're going short corner. Coming, flashing, going, Lay offside.
So there's the plan from Tracy York. Just over 2 minutes left in the opening half. And would you be surprised if I told you leading the game, the only player in double figures is Tiff Mitchell with 16 points.
I'm fangirling at the minute. I say it every time, but she's so solid in there. She just drives straight into the key, and her body control's fantastic.
No fuss, just goes about her job and gets it done. Imagine to Brown. Magbagor as Mitchell cuts baseline. Allen heads back in the other direction. Now receives from Madgen. Double teamed, opens Brown in the corner. Great D again from Maley, got the hands up. Mitchell back to Maley. Lands the three.
And that's her second three of the game. Hitting the boards, hitting threes.
She's got 2 of their 4 3-pointers. Scores a level with just over a minute left in the opening half. Here's Mitchell. Mentioned she's got 16. She's feeling it tonight. Make that 18. Right now, Bendigo just don't have a matchup for her. You almost say the same about Annalie Maley. She's doing some damage at the other end. McKay. Maley has got Garrick. Uses her now. Maddie sets up, gets to the free throw line, leaves it short, and Allen will tidy it up, wanting to get on the bike. Garrick careful not to foul. Madgen can set up for 3, drives herself through some traffic. Magbagor, Allen, money.
And she's continuing what she was doing last night against the Flyers, hitting those threes. So now she's made one, they'll have to carry a hand, make her put it on the floor, which she's so dangerous with as well.
Maley and Goulding. There's Garrick. McKay calling for it on the inside, guarded by Magbagor. Now double team. Has to flip it back. Shot clock down to 6. Goulding will go herself. Maley didn't touch the rim, so Mitchell will have to jack it up quickly. Ball still in dispute. Magbagor tidies it up. Last play of the first half. Mitchell sits out right. Magbagor comes to Allen. 5 seconds. Allen. Madgen goes herself for 2, can't make a drop. And the Boomers extend their 1-point quarter-time lead to a 5-point half-time lead. It's half-time in Game 2 of our WNBL doubleheader on KO. Melbourne Boomers 40, Bendigo Spirit 35. So 17-12, the breakdown in that second term in favour of the Boomers. What's been a really entertaining first half?
It really has been, because we knew what to expect from both teams, and it's played out probably exactly as what we thought. We thought that the Spirit would attack the bigs of the Boomers, and they have, and they've picked up some early fouls, and the Spirit were trying to push the ball and get some layups, and that's obviously what's happened so far. As we can see there, Leilani Mitchell hitting that big 3.
Kayla George involved early, but got 3 fouls. So she spent most of that first half on the bench, which changed again the dynamic and complexion of the game. Panina Davidson came into the game. Lily Scanlon's been playing more minutes. Izzy Wright's come on and played minutes in that second quarter. Tiff Mitchell, well, she's been the difference. 18 points in the first half.
And the Boomers bench have come on and held their own. It's a very close game, and they haven't lost anything from having to make those early subs. The good thing is, though, Kayla will be fresh and ready to go for the second half.
Mary Goulding's had an impact since she's come on. She's got 9 points. Equal leader in the game with Annalie Maley, who's got 9 to go with her 7 rebounds. Just a rebounding machine, Annalie Maley. As we take a look at the team numbers, at half-time. The Boomers leading by 5, 40-35. They got into some foul trouble with their bigs early on. Their field goal percentage, well, that's the difference in the game right now, shooting at 47%.
And that's a fantastic clip to be shooting at. 31% isn't a bad clip either, but obviously closer to 50 is where you're aiming for.
The Boomers have evened up that rebound count. They lead it by 1 at the half. And they lead this game by 5 points. Well, the second game in 24 hours for the Deakin Melbourne Boomers, as we mentioned last night against the Southside Flyers. You were there, were you, at Dandenong?
Yes, I was. I took the family down and had a great time. Obviously, being a Southside former player, we were going the Southside Flyers way, but that wasn't what was going to be for us.
Their second game in a week, and last night the Boomers regaining the Michelle Timms Cup after they defeated the Flyers for the second time in a week. Last weekend it was 19 points. Last night it was 15 points. They trailed by 10 in the opening quarter, the Boomers, before they really clicked into gear.
Yes, they did, and they just started off very sluggish, and it really showed after they had obviously had a timeout and talked about it, that they just picked up their game, and by the end of the first quarter, it was obvious that they were there ready to play.
They've loaded up on their starting 5. It's been a conscious decision from Guy Malloy and the recruiting team to do that. And they wanted to retain their opals, and they wanted to bring in a couple of quality imports to complement them. And they've managed to do both of those things. They've kept Kayla, Ezzy and Tess, who are their frontliners, and then they brought in Tiffany Mitchell and Lindsay Allen. And as we mentioned earlier, you've got 5 players in that starting group, all of whom complement each other. They've all got different skill sets.
It's, yeah, very obvious that they've done a very good job with their recruiting there. The starting 5, they've got the 3 guards that all bring completely different talents. They've got Lindsay Allen, who's a little jet. She's the fastest thing next to Tessa Lavey, I would think, so great matchup. And then they've got Tess, who's slow and controlled and really understands what the gameplay is about. And then Tiffany Mitchell, who I've been pumping up all game, who's really just a solid, here we go, we can see her scoring now. Just solid control, power player that is very hard to guard. So they complement each other very well.
She can take it to the rack, and the thing about Tiffany Mitchell is she's such a great free throw shooter. She's a 90% free throw shooter in the WNBA, which is 5th all time as a shooting percentage from the stripe. So if she takes it to the rack and you foul her, she's going to make you pay.
And if you don't foul, she's going to make it. Even if you do foul, she makes it as well. So that's the power of Tiffany Mitchell.
So from a Guy Malloy perspective, they were a little bit flat, and that's to be expected coming off the back of last night's game. A little bit flat and a little bit sloppy early. They were getting beaten on the boards. He asked them to box out and tighten up and sharpen up, and they did all of those things.
They did, and the players coming in off the bench really understood their role, and they were showing a lot of hustle. So they had Scanlon come in with a lot of hustle up on the ball and then getting into the key. They had Ezzy crashing the boards hard and then kicking it back to Panina, who was making an easy layup. So after they had their chat about it, we just saw a little small fumble there, but after they had a chat about it, they tidied up a lot, and it's been a great game so far.
And this is early on, a little bit of fatigue maybe, just a little bit of sloppiness early on, shot clock violation there. And we're seeing that right across the league at the moment. Obviously, it's been such a weird kind of preparation, bit of a stop-start for a lot of these teams. And we are early in the season, and as we see pretty much every year in any sporting competition, those early rounds, you just start to work the rust out, you start to get your touch, you start to get the speed of the game, you start to build that chemistry and gel as a unit.
That's it, and it takes the first half of the season to really get there. As long as you're in a good position that you feel comfortable in by midway through, I think then a lot of teams just cruise on through. I know from experience, I played in a Dandenong Rangers team that we won a championship, and we had to win our last 7 games to even make the finals. So as long as you're in the position to make the finals, anything can happen.
And it is an extended season this year with 21 rounds as well. So it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Unlike last year when teams were playing 2 and 3 games in a week and there was no time for that development in between. This year with the elongated season, COVID permitting, there will be time to build into that rhythm and that routine, and sides will be able to actually work on development of individual players and also chemistry within their group.
And the good thing about that is they have the chance to be able to work on their rest and recovery because it's an elongated season. They've got the chance to really work on how do we recover after games, how do we attack our next scout on that team, how do we actually better improve our bench players to come on and get that experience playing WNBL, which is great.
And Tracy York made that point to us during the week. There was just no time for development. She had a young squad last year by virtue of the fact that, as we mentioned, she was building her squad around a couple of imports who never came. So then she was left with a bunch of young Aussie talent, but they just didn't, because they were playing this ridiculously compressed schedule, they didn't have time to do all that development work behind the scenes to help them get better off the court. So then when they stepped onto the court, they had the tools they needed.
That's right. I mean, last season, it was great for the older veteran teams because there was less training and more gameplay. Whereas if you had a younger team, it was hard for them to then learn and gel with what they needed to do, because you had a game, a day off, then you had another game, and you couldn't really think about what happened in the last one. So
it was just all recovery, wasn't it? You weren't really working on anything. You were literally just recovering, getting ready for the next game and go again. But with the schedule now, obviously for the Boomers, they're in a recovery phase right now. They played last night, they're playing tonight, and then they play again on Wednesday night. So 3 games in 5 days, then they get the Christmas break.
That's it. And it'll really show how much they're playing their starting 5 and how their bench is going to back up, because so far the bench has shown that they can really do that, and Guy probably has some more confidence in them now.
And he mentioned during the week that they had to throw the bench in against Bendigo when they were down by double figures. And that's a very different situation, isn't it? When you're coming off the bench and your team's 10 or 12 points down and things aren't going your way, you're just naturally a little bit more timid. You're naturally a little bit more reluctant to take a risk. When you're 15 points up, as they were when they came on against the Southside Flyers, there's just a bit more freedom as a bench player.
There is, and you can come out and shoot the shots that you may shoot in training, but not so much in a game, because they may come in and go, I'm open, I can shoot this, because there's no harm, no foul. Yeah,
the pressure just isn't there, and knowing that the coach is already on the sidelines steaming. Annalie Maley's a Swiss Army knife. It's probably the best way to describe her, isn't it? What an amazing player she is. She's 185 centimetres. You look at her wingspan there. She's got to be just about the best 185 centimetre rebounder we've ever seen in this league. She plays well above her height. And what she brings to this Spirit team, the desperation, the physicality, the ability under the hoop at both ends, it's just so precious for Tracy York.
It is, and she has an uncanny ability to know when a shot is going up, because the shot goes up and in comes flying Annalie. So she's one of those players that you'd love to have on your team but hate to play against, because you know as soon as a shot's gone up, you have to find her, put a body on her, and some players, if you hit them once, they slow down a little bit and you've done your job, whereas Annalie, you can hit her 1, 2, 3 times. She's not stopping and she's going straight for that board.
We asked Tracy York about Annalie Maley. She said, you never have to coach her for effort. She's such a beautiful person, but she does have white line fever. She's so competitive, incredible rebounder for her size. In fact, Tracy coached against her when she was coaching for Vic Metro under 18s. The team lost by 20. Tracy's team had a total of 24 rebounds. Annalie had 24 on her own that day, and she's never forgotten it. She's looked at Annalie Maley and said, one day if I can get my hands on coaching her, I will jump at that opportunity, and now she's got that chance.
Oh, that's it, and she's doing amazing things for the Bendigo team, because they may be undersized. They have Meg McKay, who's their other big, but other than that, Annalie's their other big, so she's really holding her own out there.
Great to see WNBL action back in Bendigo. Our regional area is often starved of live elite level sport, particularly in the last couple of seasons when things have been shut down and locked down and restricted. And regional Victoria over the years has been such a heartland for Australian basketball. So many great players over the decades from associations like Bendigo, Geelong, Mildura, Maryborough, Traralgon, Swan Hill. The list goes on and on. Also includes Ballarat. And Steph, exciting news this week. The Perth Lynx are going to base themselves in Ballarat throughout January. And the WNBL will stage 15 matches in regional Victoria next month in Ballarat and Traralgon. Traralgon will have a doubleheader on January 8, the Flames and the Lynx, followed by the Boomers and the Caps. It's a great initiative, a wonderful opportunity for our regional fans to get along and enjoy some live action.
It is, and it's so hard to come by having that type of quality basketball, so WNBL, out in regional Victoria, because a lot of the WNBL teams are based in major cities, Melbourne, Canberra, Sydney. So being able to get out into Gippsland and get the young talent of tomorrow to be able to really get that live experience. It's great to watch it on TV and seeing our beautiful faces, but it's much better to see the live thing.
We saw Jade Melbourne on the graphic there. She's originally from Traralgon, so we've had some great talent come through from our regional areas. And the Perth Lynx, well, they're the smoky, they're the sleeper of the competition, Steph. They're not going to start their campaign until January because of COVID restrictions. So they're going to have to play something like 21 games in about 60 days. But they are putting together an incredible roster. We're not sure whether Sammy Whitcomb's going to be released from her French contract yet to play for Perth. But if so, she'll join the likes of Scherf and Garvin and Sharp. And they've brought in a couple of top-notch WNBA imports as well. They're going to be a team to watch.
They are going to be a team to watch. I mean, that's a fantastic lineup you've just gone through there, and considering they had this little bit of extra time to try and prepare and watch the other style of gameplay, it's really going to be good for them because they can just ride that wave and ride that momentum. If they start well, they can just cruise on through the start of the season, of their season.
Yeah, WA duo will be Marina Mabry and Jackie Young, who was the #1 pick in the 2019 draft. So we're talking about elite talent coming in for the Lynx. So it's going to be a bit of a handicap race. They're going to come from behind. All these other teams have played a lot more games than they have. We'll keep an eye on Perth Lynx and their potential to rocket up the WNBL ladder as we start the second half. It's the Boomers by 5 points and possession. Ball's in the hands of Magbagor, off to Allen. Boomers going back to their starting five. So Kayla George back in the action on 3 fouls. Off to Ezzy, can't finish, gets her own board. Mitchell, what a game she's having. Up to 20 points in the opening 30 seconds of the second half. Levy, Garrick, Mitchell in the corner. Back to Garrick, shot clock to 5. Maddie drives, off to
Great
McKay.
pass from Maddie there, and way to step in for Meg McKay.
And Maley again.
And there's that hustle we were talking about.
That wingspan, that ability to just insert herself into play. Still a Boomers ball. Mitchell comes at George. One-on-one with Garrick. George versus Maley. Magbagor to Allen. Thinks about taking on Mitchell. He's got Ezzy set up for 3, and she drains it. Good start to the second half.
And Ezzy needs to have that confidence to shoot that ball because she has that range. You could see herself second-guessing, but then she nailed it.
Garrick, she's finding her range as well. Back-to-back threes for Maddie Garrick in this game. And a nice response. Keeps the Spirit within 5. Mitchell to George. Back to Mitchell. Tries to lose Garrick. Takes McKay to the baseline. Good pressure, Maley. She's called for the foul.
And that's where Meg McKay doesn't need to bail Tiff Mitchell out there. She was behind the backboard. What else are you going to do? Oh, I think it was Anna Lee, sorry.
It's called on Anna Lee.
She was stuck behind the backboard. What else could she do? You just need to let her dribble straight out of bounds.
Sometimes Anna Lee's reach works against her.
That's it.
Magbagor thought about the give to Mitchell. The 1-2 with George is clever. She draws a foul on Maley. So 2 fouls on Annalee Maley in the space of 20 seconds. Her first 2 of the game.
And now that Kayla's back on, it looks like they're trying to work that high-low again. So they know that'll be a positive outcome for them if they can get Kayla and Ezzy doing a high-low because they have that obvious height advantage.
So Magbagor makes that free throw. Ezzy up to 11 points. Can't make the second, but Mitchell comes crashing in over the top of Maley. And another foul on Bendigo. This time it's on Mitchell.
And that's
Leilani
an absolute coach killer. Got to box out on the free throws.
It's not often Annalee Maley has someone rise over the top of her and pluck a rebound off her head, but on that occasion, Ezzy Magbagor, one of the few who's got the athleticism to be able to do it, and Tiff Mitchell likewise. Mitchell rose over Maley and pulled it down. Imagine the inbound to George. 10 on the shot clock. Imagine in the corner. Got Levy to deal with. Steps around the screen from George. Wide open in the corner is Mitchell. And she is hot tonight.
She's doing it all tonight. And they've broke out to a 9-point lead, Melbourne.
Dangerous time here for the Spirit. McKay. Garrick, nice finish.
Solid finish from Maddie there.
Critical for Bendigo to hang in here. Allen to George. Magbagor back to Allen. Draws a crowd. Off to George, down to 5. Imagine. George can shoot the 3 ball. Puts it on the floor. He's going to run out of time. Great D from McKay. And draws a foul on George, her 4th. And that is enormous.
That is a massive call. And you can just see here Kayla's arm hooked behind Meg McKay, and they've called it.
Such a low percentage too, when there was 1 second left on the shot clock, and that shot was never dropping. And Kayla stays out there on 4 fouls.
They're risking it.
It's got to impact her play though. She's just not going to be able to be as physical under the boards. Garrick. And there is George, has to stay off her. McKay with the hook to no one in particular. And Penina Davidson is going to check back into the game, and George is going to sit down. So a frustrating night for Kayla George. A little bit like we saw with Alana Smith earlier for the Adelaide Lightning. Every time he got up and going, a couple of fouls and down you sit again.
Come and have a sit. Have a little rest, maybe do some assistant coaching today.
So the Boomers by 7 as we approach the midway point of this 3rd term. Really entertaining game in Bendigo. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are on KO. Allen. Davidson in space. She shot a 3 last week and banks this one.
I hope she called that one. Doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as it goes in. Big 3 for Penina there.
Doesn't shoot a lot of 3s. In fact, that's just... She's now shot 2 in 2 weeks. First time in her WNBL career she's managed that. McKay off to Levy. Mitchell as the clock runs down again. Levy, can she get free of Madgen? She can't. Puts up a difficult shot, won't quite drop. Crashing in hard was Allen. Off to Mitchell. Maley tries to set her feet. Foul called off the ball.
On Tessa.
And Tessa Levy.
She was doing all she could to keep Ezzy out there. Big 3 from Penina there.
The margin's out to 10. Guy Malloy calls his team to the bench. He wants to chat with Jason Kelly. It's a critical passage in this game now for Bendigo.
It is. I mean, this is their time to try and fight back that deficit. That's a 10-point break now that the Boomers have. And
skips down the court. Garrick and Levy. Bogue sets a screen, then receives. Back to Garrick. Maley thinks about the 3, puts it up.
oh,
Jams it against the board.
Ezzy will get this. Oh, it's jammed right in there.
It's right in height. Have to grab the floor wiper.
And count it.
Here's another look. A little bit of confusion here. Annalee Bailey saying, what's happening? Who's got the ball? What's going on?
And Bendigo get the ball back.
With a 14-second front court shot clock. Lavey, Garrick, catch and shoot. Davidson.
Bogue did well to try and contest that board there. Unlucky to may not have got it.
Boomers ball. Allen against McLean.
And that's great pressure up the floor from McLean, making Lindsay Allen just take a couple of extra dribbles in the backcourt.
Davidson. Magbagor pressured by Maley. Now McLean back on Allen once again. Izzy, the look inside, perfect to Davidson.
And the bigs were really working well together there. Ezzy and Panina.
The speed of Lavey,
so quick.
Slashes to the hoop, can't make the finish, and Mitchell's down.
Oh no, that doesn't look good.
She was injured in the Southside Flyers game when her hand got wedged between her and another player. She had to head to the sideline, missed about a quarter of that game. Have to wait for the replay to see where the contact came on Tiff Mitchell, who is having a stellar night. 23 points, she's 6 of 7 for the field, 3 of 4 from the three-point arc. And perfect 2 of 2 from the free throw line.
And this looks to be a big loss for the Melbourne Boomers. She's really just said, come on Boomers, jump on my back and I can carry you through this game, but it's not looking great for Tiff here.
So 4:49 remaining in the third term. Tiff Mitchell receives medical assistance. Spirit are over on their bench in a huddle. Tracy York providing some instructions, a chance for them now to refocus on the back end of this third quarter, which, as we've mentioned, at 12 points. It's at a dangerous time now for Bendigo. They need to eat into this lead between now and three-quarter time.
And they call the third quarter the championship quarter because this is where games are won and lost here. And Melbourne have made a bit of a break, so Bendigo need to try and peg it back.
It's the Boomers by 5 at half-time. They now lead it by 12. Mitchell with 23 points. Magbagor's got 11. Panina Davidson up to 9. She's had a real impact coming off the bench, which will please Guy Malloy. For Bendigo, Maddie Garrick with 12 points. 9 to Goulding, 9 to Maley, 7 to Mitchell. Tiff Mitchell still down. Difficult to see from this angle, but it looks like she went down holding her face, so I'm not sure whether she collected an elbow or a hip or a shoulder on the way down. Have to see if we can pick it up on the replay. Boomers back in action Wednesday night. They head to Sydney to face the Flames and then have their Christmas break for about a week. Here's a look. There's Tiff at the top of the screen there, top left. All good at this point. Might be finger in the eye from Annalee Maley. Accidentally. A rake down of the face with Annalee's fingers as she was coming down and Tiff was coming up.
She's been down for a long time, so
maybe something like a poke in the eye.
Definitely something to do with her face. Surrounded by staff from both Spirit and Boomers.
Taking all the time they need here. If it is something as delicate as an eye injury, you want to be very careful with it. So they're going to try and get her up off the floor, get her to the sideline where they can continue that assessment and treatment.
And we're hoping that she's all right and she'll recover and they'll take good care of her.
It's one of those freak incidents in basketball, which is theoretically a non-contact sport, Steph.
Theoretically.
Not sure how many non-contact games you've played in your career. Not many, I wouldn't imagine.
No, with the broken noses and the dislocated fingers and the black eyes. Non-contact, they say.
Wear a mouthguard, kids.
That's it. Your parents pay a lot of money for those teeth, as my parents like to say to me. You wear that mouthguard.
So an extended stoppage here as that Tiff Mitchell receives treatment. Chance for the Spirit to regroup. So Tiff's
might
up.
be a
So it might be the
blood
nose, yeah. It was definitely Annalise's hand came down across the face. Just a complete accident in the course of play.
Copped her at the wrong angle. And
yeah, may have just copped her across
that.
the bridge of the nose. It's actually a relief it's not the eyes.
She can just wear one of those beautiful face masks that cover up your entire face, and she's good to go.
So Tiff will be taken straight to the rooms. They'll look to stem that bleeding. What a night she's had.
And that's
3 points.
That's not the first nose we've seen this season, as Kelsey Griffin had a collision in the first round.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kels, it was fractured, some facial fractures around the orbital there. She's a week-to-week proposition at the moment. Didn't take the court for Canberra today, so she'll be assessed again this week.
Maybe she can also get one of those beautiful face masks.
Guy Malloy now has to regroup and refocus his troops. After a good 4 or 5 minute delay here, it's going to be interesting to see what impact this has on the back end of the quarter. It's come smack bang in the middle of this third term, and the Boomers had the momentum. They're out to a 12-point lead. So is this an opportunity for Bendigo without the Boomers' most dominant player on the floor, which is Tiff Mitchell? Kayla George not out there either. Scanlon, Davidson. Now Magbagor. Back to Scanlon.
Solid hands from Bogue there.
Nugent kicks it out. Allen banks it again.
That's 2 banks for the Melbourne Boomers this game. You wouldn't dream about it.
Margin out to 15. Alex Wilson into the game for Bendigo. Bogue. Back to Wilson. It's to take on Allen. Long range 2. Won't drop. Did everything but. And once again, Magbagor pulls in the rebound. Scanlon loves speed on the game. Forced to retreat here by McLean. Back out to Madgen, and they can set up again. Allen in the corner, pops it over the top to Magbagor. Drew Maley's attention. Davidson with the board. She'll draw the foul.
And Melbourne have continued that momentum, hitting that 3 and crashing the boards hard with a good stop down the other end.
So the messages from Guy Malloy at halftime: protect the ball, protect the boards. That's worked in this third term. They've looked a lot sharper. Panita Davidson, chance to move into double figures here. And she does.
And she's really showed what she can do this game with her opportunity that she's been given with Kayla in early foul trouble. She's really stepped up and done very well for the Boomers.
It's a third year at Melbourne, but she's always been the backup to the backup in the bigs department, so she's going to get a lot more minutes this year. With that, might be the opportunity she needs to really blossom and go to that next level. Makeda Goulding. Wilson off to Maley. Deep 2. Rattles off the front of the iron. McLean comes through. McKay tidies up. Can't get the finish. McLean wrestles for it. Foul on Lindsay Allen. Real hustle effort player is Cassidy McLean.
Yes, she is offensively and defensively. She's just in there. Really quick, zippy player.
Newcastle native in New South Wales. Spent a couple of years at the Sydney Flames. In her third year now with the Bendigo Spirit. Maley. Wilson. Mitchell, the feed inside to McKay, confronted by Davidson, who does enough to block the shot, or at least hassle it away from the hoop.
Ooh.
Down goes Allen.
That was
heavy
a hard
collision.
hit there.
Ref says play on. I think it's McLean who's down. Guy Guy Malloy comes out to check on Cassidy McLean. Here's another look.
That's a big, heavy collision there. And it's Golding going straight into the hip of Lindsay Allen.
Straight into the hip and the knee of Allen. So Guy Malloy checking on his New Zealand tall fern player, Mary Goulding. So she wears a solid one as well. Looks like she's holding her ribs.
Might have knocked the wind straight out of her.
Just another basketball incident like the Maylee Mitchell one earlier. Two players with eyes for the ball, committing their bodies. Unfortunately for Mary Goulding, she comes off second best on this occasion. Back up into the bench on her own steam, as you said, Steph. Maybe just to catch her breath and regroup.
Anyone who knows who's been winded with that heavy hit, you think you're dying for 20 seconds and then your diaphragm relaxes and you can breathe again. So that was a big, heavy hit for Mary Goulding there.
Maddie Garrick checks in for Goulding. Melbourne by 16, inside 3 minutes in the third. Davidson and Magbegor. Allen wants to take on Garrick. Works away out of a tight space. Magbegor for three. Almost banked another. Maylee tidies it up. Receives back from Garrick. Wants to push Ezzy up the floor. Ezzy says forget about that.
Solid block from Ezzy there, and she's so good at that, just reading the ball, the flight path. Just, no, not today. And I think that's her second block today.
Nearly took her on. Ezzy swatted it away. All ball.
And that's a highlight reel for Ezzy there.
It's a foul.
First personal.
It's Mitchell inbounds to Wilson. Garrick, it's a shot clock. Hits five. Maylee pops it over the top. 2-on-1. McKay did really well. Beat two and drew the foul.
And she did a really good job there at just keeping the ball high. She caught it high, kept it high, and forced that foul. So to the stripe she goes.
Really important addition to this Bendigo lineup that needs size. At 190 centimetres, the 24-year-old. Previously at St Mary's, went to Germany. Townsville Fire, now her first year at the Spirit.
And Bendigo playing up the court to try and slow the Boomers down.
Just over 2 minutes left in the third. Scanlon against Mitchell. And Davidson versus Maylee. Magbegor and McKay back to Scanlon. Shot clock to 5. Davidson, will she put up a three? She will. Maylee. Another rebound, her 11th. 1 point short of a double-double. So the Boomers have been much better in this one at slowing the tempo of the offense for Bendigo, who really just got out in that game one and ran them off their feet. Boomers have made a conscious effort to make sure they get basket side in defence and push back hard themselves.
That's it. They've definitely made it an adjustment on their style of gameplay, tried to slow them down in their offensive transition. So it's worked out well for them so far, and they've created a nice little lead for themselves in this third quarter.
So George back into the game on 4 fouls. Guy Malloy senses the opportunity here to just put the foot down and open up a match-winning lead. Ezzy again with that remarkable elevation. 10 more seconds for the Boomers. Allen works around McKay, wants to go herself. You can see her intention was to get it to Magbegor. Busy hands in the way. Maylee thinks about taking on Scanlon. Wilson is wide open for three. Can't make a drop. Magbegor off to Scanlon, who's happy to just settle it down here. Take some time off the clock late in the third. George to Madgen. To 5. Magbegor inside. Locates George. She's got such beautiful touch around the basket.
She has a very high release, then such a quick release at that.
5-second differential in the shot clock here. Mitchell goes baseline. Garrick drives, and this time it's George who denies her. 3 seconds left. Will Madgen put up a shot? She will. Gets to the free throw line.
Oh!
3-point
And
dagger.
Lindsay Allen liked that one.
From Tess Madgen. A 3-point buzzer beater to end the third term. And the Boomers lead by 20. What a quarter for them. They led by 5 at the half. And at three-quarter time as we turn for home on WNBL Sunday Basketball, it's Melbourne 63, the Spirit 43. September 2022, the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup returning to Australian shores for the first time in 27 years. 12 teams, 144 of the world's best players, 38 games to savour across 10 days. It's going to be a festival, the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. It'll deliver plenty of action for Aussie basketball fans right here on our own shores. So sign up for first access to tickets at womensworldcup.basketball. Fantastic to have the World Cup here in Australia in 2022.
It's going to be very exciting. I mean, to get a glimpse firsthand of the world's best players, what more could you ask for as an emerging basketballer?
What a quarter from the Melbourne Boomers. They put on 23 points to 8 to extend their 5-point lead at quarter time to 20 points at the final change.
And it was such a quick turnaround. They came from the game being very, very tight, very, very close, wouldn't know which way it was going to go, and they've just, Melbourne, put the foot down and pushed out this lead.
Given we've been concerned about the fatigue factor, 2 games in 24 hours with the bus trip to Bendigo in between, we've got a little bit of a buffer to sit on here. And they've only got 3 days until their next game, so Guy Malloy would be more than happy to try and maintain this advantage and then have the opportunity to sit some of those players that have played big minutes again tonight in the dying stages of this game. The job of the Spirit now is to make sure that can't happen. Start well in this final term, put some pressure on. Allen, Magbagor, little move on McKay.
And that was smart there from Ezzy just to throw that little up fake, get Meg McKay in the air and step through.
There it is, just got McKay off balance. From there was really nothing she could do. She was on the move, Ezzy was on the move, and she just took the contact.
Solid finish by Ezzy.
So she's 2 from 4 on the foul free throw line tonight. Make that 3 for 5. She's up to 14 points. Tiff Mitchell leading the game with 23. Mitchell, Alex Wilson, Garrick inboard. McKay, lovely step inside of George.
That was a great step through there from Meg McKay, especially with the likes of Kayla standing in front of her with that long reach. 4
fouls on her, Kayla George. She can't be quite as aggressive and physical as she normally would be. Madgen looks to work on Garrick. Garrick does enough. Wilson.
A sea of blue on the boards there.
It's about going herself. There goes to McKay. Garrick. Step back 3. Off the line. Allen to George. Off to Magbagor. Scanlon. Heavy contact with McKay.
Tried to get that little split there and went straight into the hip of McKay.
So Megan McKay's feet not quite set there, shuffling across. Lily Scanlon is a little terrier. Some real grit and fire to this Boomers lineup. Allen, Madgen, Magbagor. George and Madgen on the left. Izzy's got some space. Flat three is good. Margin out to 24.
Spirit really need to get through some offense and get a really good looking shot here.
He links up with Mitchell. Got Magbagor in front of her. McKay, the top of the arc. Levy, McLean, inside to McKay, against George, gets it to drop.
Good job, McKay, and they're attacking Kayla here because they know she can't be as aggressive, whereas Boomers are setting up in a zone to try and protect her.
Kayla does post up here. Madgen to George, back out to Madgen for three. Drags down the board, off to Mitchell. Chance for Levy here, she's open. Steps inside Madgen, drives to the rack.
So quick.
So Tessa Levy on the board, her first 2 points of the game. Maddie Garrick has 12 for Bendigo. They all came in a rush. Goulding and Maley with 9 apiece. McKay with 7. Scoring's dried up a little bit for the Spirit. Had 22 points in the first quarter, 13 in the second, 8 in the third.
Well, it's do or die time now for the Spirit. They really need to push the ball and try and get some early scores. If they... Here, Tracy here.
The individual D's picked up. We've got to make sure we're taking away what they want. Just on the drive on that last one, just head and stay, all right? So if you only ask that too. When you dig in, don't turn your head off the player stat. Offensively, 3 out, 2 in. 1, you 3 are on the outside. We've got you, don't float around outside. Kick it, get inside. We've got Carly Boat, come up.
Still plenty of passion and energy in that Spirit huddle. They trail by 20 with 7.5 left in the game.
And it looks like they're going to go really aggressive here and try and pressure up.
Allen brings the ball up the floor. Confronted by McLean. George. Magbagor. Hands off to Allen. Madgen in the corner. Magbagor now wants to work on McKay. The reverse won't drop. Izzy again gets her own board. How many times have we seen that tonight? The ability to follow up her own shot. She just elevates above the pack.
And that's it. She's missing her first shot, but it doesn't matter because she's cleaning up her own messes.
Such reach. Spirit players calling for the travel.
Rattles it in.
She's putting on a party tricks now.
Doesn't matter how it goes in as long as it goes in.
19 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists. So Izzy Magbagor just 1 assist away from a triple-double. McKay, hot ball out to Levy. Megan McKay been in everything, and Magbagor just strips her of the ball. Scanlon. Up with George. Here's Magbagor. Could this be the assist? Madgen to Scanlon. She turns it over, looking for George. Wasn't on the same page. It was picked off by Bode. Now Levy wants to light up the Jets. Nothing doing. Good defence from Scanlon. Managed to stay in front of her. McKay. McLean. It's got isolation against Madgen. Here's McKay on the inside again. Lovely move once again. Got Izzy off balance this time. Taste of her own medicine. Megan McKay working really hard. To George. Scanlon cuts to the hoop. Madgen works to the baseline. George tries to post up. Good body work from Bogue. Got her hand in. Well played, Carly Bogue. Great D. And Levy again wants to put the speed on.
And great hands there from Lindsay Allen.
She's so slick, isn't she? Lovely ball. Imagine. Thought about the little give to George. Went herself. It was short.
Just some tired legs there from Tess.
Played a lot of minutes this weekend. The Melbourne Boomers starting 5. Tess has been out there for most of them. Bogue's shot was short. Scanlon hands it to Lindsay Allen. Just 6 points tonight for Allen. She's played the facilitator role rather than the scorer. It's one of the strengths of this Melbourne side. On any given night, any of them can put up 20 plus. And Guy Malloy says he loves their selflessness. Scanlon misses the layup.
Did all the hard work, got herself right in there and missed that layup. And that's what's so dangerous about the Melbourne team. You can't scout that. Anyone can just come out and have a killer night.
And Guy says, look, in this league, to get 25 plus points, you have to have a lot of plays drawn up specifically for you. He doesn't do that. They share the load around. They play what's in front of them. He said he loves their selflessness. And look, when it's your night, it's your night. Great. Tomorrow night, it might be someone else's turn. So be it. The result is the all-important thing. It's not about individual numbers. Allen's double-teamed here. Did well to get it to Wright.
Izzy Wright just tiptoeing the...
And is that another tech? I think it is.
Is that Tracy York out now?
Was it on Tracy York? I think they may have been. Were they calling for a backcourt violation?
I think they, yeah, I think they were calling for, Izzy Wright was tiptoeing the halfway line, and they weren't too happy about it.
Certainly with the naked eye at first glance, it was worth a second look. And it is another tech. Here's a look. We don't quite see it there. It was just a split second behind. It may have been on one of the assistants as opposed to Tracy, or is Tracy? No, Tracy's still there. Might have been one of the assistants sitting down.
This is where we need the review system like they have in the NBL. Coaches get one review.
So that's Tiff Mitchell back into the game, which is great news.
They've patched her up and sent her back out.
Allen, shot clock down to 5. Here is Ezzy Magbagor straight up the middle. Seas parted. She took advantage. And Ezzy has 21. 21 for Mitchell, 23 for Mitchell, 21 for Magbagor. It's been their turn tonight. Garrick wants to isolate Izzy Wright. Gain some separation. Well done, Wright, stuck to the task. Garrick drives again. Tough shot, she
Maddie
makes
did
it.
well to finish that right off balance behind the backboard and still managed to get that finish.
Wonderful finish from Maddie Garrick. Wright could not have defended that any harder. Now they go at it again. This time Izzy has the ball. Off to Allen. Mitchell in the corner. Wright drives herself, goes herself, draws the foul.
And both teams still being very, very aggressive at the ring. As you can see there, Maddie just finishing right off balance.
What a shot that was from Maddie Garrick. And then Izzy Wright, aggressive in her own right, taking it to the hoop. Maintaining a 20-point lead for Melbourne. 3.5 minutes remaining in this game at Bendigo Stadium.
It'll be interesting to see if Guy rests those big playing minutes. So Ezzy, Tess, Lindsay, giving them a bit of a rest because considering they have a game on Wednesday.
If you're ever going to do it, now's the time.
That's it.
You're up by 20. Here's Tracy. Aussie Hoops Basketball's National Junior Participation Program, introducing kids aged 5 to 10 years of age to basketball. They learn and improve their fundamental movement skills as well as the basics of teamwork and cooperation, which will benefit them both on and off the court. To find out where your kids can start a lifelong enjoyment of the game, visit Aussie Hoops at aussiehoops.basketball/find a program. Registrations for Term 1 now open. As Izzy Wright makes the first. 31-year-old. Played back with the Logan Thunder back in 2012, then a year at Perth, her second year at Melbourne, stepped away from the game to focus on her finance career, and then last year was able to juggle both. She worked full-time in the hub and then could also play at night. Tough schedule.
Very, very tough schedule.
Plays at Nuttawading in NBL 1 with Paul Flynn, the assistant coach. That's the connection to the Boomers. As Levy goes inboard to Maley, now kicks it out, Garrick for three. Big board there from Bogue, brought it down. Did she draw a foul? She did. Carly Bogue, another important piece. Bogue and McKay, in a side that lacks size, have got important roles to play this season.
They do, and they both play above their height. So Bogue smashing people on screens and crashing boards, just a solid player.
Garrick, lovely step move on Mitchell. Oh, that's
and
sweet.
There it is.
Maddie Garrick up to 17. Right. One-on-one with Goulding into George. Wants to work Annalee Maley. And there's that touch again from Kayla. Maley for three. Magpie just able to rise above. Couldn't quite haul it in on this occasion. Levy so nimble, so fast. Goes back for a second look. George.
And it hasn't been Levy's night on the layups today.
Mitchell wide open.
Nearly almost.
Thought about it. 25 points for Tiff Mitchell. Given she sat almost a quarter's worth of this game, it's been an incredible performance from her. 7 for 8 from the field, 3 for 4 from three-point range, 2 for 2 from the line. It's been a complete performance from Tiff Mitchell. She has established herself very quickly as an elite player in this league. She's going to be a real headache to match up on for teams.
She is, because she's so strong that the guards that are defending her are struggling to stay in front of her because of her power, and then you can't put a big or 4 on her because she'll be too quick and go straight around them. So she's going to be a really good strength here for Melbourne this season.
It'll be a competitive advantage. Guy Malloy is going to be able to draw up plays to exploit. Goulding. Garrick, great to see her get some of her shooting touch back tonight. Here she goes again. Not on this occasion. Nice gather from Goulding, real effort player. McLean sees an opening, wants to take on Allen. Right, getting some decent minutes tonight as well.
And Bendigo seem to be doing all the right things offensively, getting to the ring, but they just can't finish on their layups.
Lou Brown getting some more court time. Gives it off to Davidson, and now Allen. Back to Brown. Here's Mitchell. Drives again. Doesn't drop on this occasion. Hasn't missed many tonight. Garrick, McLean.
Solid hands from Izzy Wright there.
Garrick back onto it. Opens up. Stops, props.
Almost another one there for Mary, just crashing the boards hard.
Another who fights out of her weight division.
That's right. All about the hustle.
Mitchell, lovely move, gets herself some space. Davidson tracks a crowd. Mitchell, Brown. 2 more for Lou Brown.
And you can see here that Melbourne are just playing with real confidence. They're kicking the ball around, using the 24 seconds that they have at their disposal, taking time off the clock and then just hitting easy shots. And that's the difference between having a close game and being up by 20.
So final minute of this one from Bendigo. McLean. Good Childs into the game. Off to Piper. Piper Dunlop, that is. McLean as the shot clock runs down. Wilson. Through the hands of Dunlop. And the Boomers will get the last play. Davidson to Allen. Will she?
Get that extra shot up?
Nope. She'll just dribble it out.
Could have had an extra 3 points there, Lindsay.
And it's a perfect weekend for the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. 2 starts, 2 wins, and now just 2 full days to prepare for their next challenge, the Flames in Sydney on Wednesday night. The Boomers improved to 3-1 on the season, while the Spirit slipped to 1-2. They also face a quick turnaround as they recover and regroup to face the Caps on Wednesday night. Impressive performance once again from the Melbourne Boomers, who have put up wins by 19, 15 and now 25 over the last 7 or 8 days.
This has been a great contest today, and it just shows that even if the Boomers were tired, they had the grit, and their bench was taking the opportunity to just get out there and take what comes to them, and it's been obvious that they've done so well with such a convincing lead. And you would expect that would be the real positive for Guy Malloy when he's on the bus back to Melbourne this evening, that the role players coming in off the bench, yes, Tiff Mitchell had 25 and Mag McGaw had 21, and they were obviously the frontline weaponry, but plenty of minutes for Penina Davidson, who ended up with 10 points. Lily Scanlon had some meaningful minutes as well, did some good things. And the more minutes you can get into those players as the season rolls on, the more valuable they can become. Yeah, it's players knowing their role and playing their role. And with that gives them confidence, and it just means that if you have to sub for whatever reason, whether it be foul trouble or someone's injured, you don't lose anything, and people know what you're going to get, which is great. And we can see them recovering here, making sure they're getting their bodies in the right space, because it's been a tough hit out, and yeah, got to make sure you got to back up. Let's head courtside. Tiffany Mitchell joins us after another stellar performance. 25 points tonight. Tiff, and a hit on the schnoz.
I did. Got some treatment and got back out there.
Was it just a rake of the fingers? Was it just across the nose? We couldn't quite see from the replays.
She got me pretty good over the cross of my nose, which instantly started bleeding. So we had to control the bleeding, check to see if anything was broken. Once concussion and everything, once I checked off all those boxes, I was ready to get back out there.
This group seems to be gelling together very nicely, Tiff. You've settled in and found your niche very quickly, playing some really exciting basketball right now.
Yeah, I have a great group of girls with me. They're patient with me, learning new here, so I'm just trying to fit in where I can. And like I said, I got a lot of great girls around me. And Tiff, just coming in, because you've obviously have your first season in the WNBL, how are you finding the differences between other seasons that you've played? I mean, the physicality is a bit much at times. So just being able to handle that throughout the course of the game, still play my game, not force shots, look at my teammates, and just kind of play through the flow of the game.
Bit of a hectic schedule, Tiff. 2 games in 24 hours and another 3 days. You play in Sydney on Wednesday. Great to see some minutes for the likes of Penina Davidson and Lily Scanlon.
Yeah, our bench was huge today, but that's what we work on in practice. You know, every game is not going to be the starter's day, so our bench stays ready, have great reps in practice, so when it's their time to shine, they're ready.
What did you learn from the first time you played Bendigo 11 days ago?
Just to crash the boards. They're really small compared to us, so we know they're going to try to get us out of our game, speed us up, just because we have more length and height. So just being cognizant of that, making sure we're finding people on the rebounds, and just take care of the ball, being patient, and play, Boomer basketball.
Well, congratulations on another fantastic performance. A perfect weekend for the Boomers and the Boomers fans. 2 games, 2 wins, and we're absolutely thrilled to have you in the league. And congratulations on your early season form.
Thank you.
Tiff Mitchell joining us after another 25 points this evening. She led the way. Mitchell and Magbagor combining for 46 as we take a look at the full-time stats. They finished at a 50% field goal, 45% from the three. Good at the stripe as well. It was a really crisp shooting performance from Melbourne tonight.
I mean, it's obvious just looking at the different percentages, and those percentages went up because they were getting open shots and easy looks and shooting with confidence. So it's a really good thing to see from the Boomers, making sure that they just keep continuing with that, and they're going to be a really big powerhouse throughout this season.
We mentioned it during the call. They've got plenty of avenues to score, which makes it incredibly difficult to guard from the opposition perspective because you're never exactly sure whose night it's going to be.
That's it, and it's so dangerous because, as I've spoken about before, their bench coming on just playing their roles. Ezzy's come out and had a fantastic game, whereas she might not have had as many points in the previous game. And Tiff Mitchell's come out and had an absolute cracker of a game, and Lindsay Allen has barely scored but been the facilitator. So it's very dangerous. And how do you scout that? And
you need the right culture for that to work, don't you? You need all the players to buy into that team-first ethos to say, well, it may not be my night tonight, but that doesn't matter. It's not about me padding my own stats. As long as we get the W's, that's really all that matters.
And that's what it is. It's being unselfish. It's making sure that you're doing things that are best for the team, and especially if there is foul trouble like we saw with Kayla George today. She couldn't play, and she got her points where she did, she got her boards where she did, but she had to sit majority of the game, and a lot of the other players like Penina Davidson really showed what she could do today, and that's great.
From a Bendigo Spirit perspective, Maddie Garrick finished with 17 points. Goulding and Maley and McKay all finished with 9. 7 to Leilani Mitchell. Plenty of positives to take out of it from a Spirit perspective as well.
Yeah, it is, and it just shows that they stayed right in the game for majority of it, and they really know what works for them, pressuring up in the floor and making sure that the other teams are playing quick, making sure that they're making mistakes and creating turnovers. And they just lacked a little bit of height today, and that's okay because they have the likes of Anna Lee and Megan McKay who play above their height.
So that's round 3 in the books of WNBL season 2021-22 as we take a look ahead to round 4 and our round 4 fixture. We don't have long to wait. A doubleheader coming away right here on KO on Wednesday night. The Flames hosting the Boomers. They're back in action, followed by the Caps and the Spirit. So a doubleheader starting from 5 p.m. Eastern. And then on Thursday night, it's the Southside Flyers hosting the Townsville Fire in Dandenong in the final game before the 6-day Christmas break. And, of course, every game live right here on KO. So the Melbourne Boomers improved their record to 3-1 after a perfect weekend. 2 big wins over the Southside Flyers, now followed up by a win over the Bendigo Spirit as well. They go to 3-1. Steph, thanks so much for your time tonight. It was a really entertaining game. It was great to be a part of it, and thank you so much for having me. On behalf of the entire production team here at WNBL TV, thanks very much for your company. Congratulations to the Melbourne Boomers. They register back-to-back wins across the weekend. They're 3-1 on the season. We'll catch you again Wednesday from 5 p.m. Eastern for another WNBL doubleheader right here on KO.